Have we still got humans in the room tonight? Raise your hand if you're a human. Fantastic. We're still with it. Great. So is there a place for humans alongside AI? When I first started talking about this, the truth is I wasn't sure it would resonate with people because everyone was laser focused on AI and not a ton of people were thinking about the humans in that mix. But I got my thoughts down on paper and I started to talk about it at conferences in Dublin and Manchester and San Francisco, and it really caught fire, which is why I'm here with all of you today. And before I talk about the future, I want to take you back to my past. So this is me in the 1980s in my very fetching jumper, as you can see, with the collar outside the shirt. And the reason I call that out is it doesn't belong there, but it was the first clue maybe that I was wired slightly differently. My parents had moved us from a 2-room school in rural Leitrim, where there was 45 students in the entire school, to a much larger school where there was 45 students in my entire class. And my new teacher had an interesting way of organising the students. She put who she perceived to be the most intelligent student at the top of the class at a triangle table. The average students sat at square tables in the middle, and the rest of us, the misfits, we sat at one round table down the back of the class. Now, I presume that's so we wouldn't hurt ourselves on the corners. But as I sat there, I knew that I was different, but I didn't feel stupid and I didn't feel slow, and the kids around me didn't either. We were just wired differently, or neurodiverse before anyone used that word. But because we didn't fit the system at the time, we were pushed to the back of the class. Now, even then as a child, I noticed something. While the kids at the front of the class were learning about facts and formulas and repeatable tasks, us kids at the back of the class at that round table were learning something entirely different. We were learning how to read people. We were learning to understand shifts in energy in rooms. We were understanding how to adapt to change very fast. You could say that if the kids at the front of the class were learning about structured data, we were learning about the unstructured kind. And that was really the first time I realized that human intelligence isn't one-dimensional. It's varied, and IQ isn't the whole story. Now, if we fast forward a couple of decades, I'll be kind to myself, just a few decades. I'm now a mum of 4 to Lachlan, Grayson, Willow and Cooper with my wonderful wife Geraldine. And one night we were sitting at the kitchen table and Lachlan, our eldest, was staring at his homework with the kind of existential dread that he normally reserves for cleaning his bedroom. And he said, "Mum, why do I have to do this?" But what he actually said was, "Mum, why do I have to do this? Can't I just ask Jackie GPT, who's our friendly GPT at home?" And he has a fair point. Lachlan is already using AI to research sea creatures. He is using it to explain concepts to him. He's even using it to make up his own stories. So he's living in a world where information is infinite and easily accessible. So why learn maths when AI can do it faster? You see, when I was sitting at the back of that classroom as a child, with that round table, not hurting myself in the corners, at least the path was clear. You went to school, you did well at school, you went to college, you got a job, and you worked your way up. It was very flawed for me personally, but it was clear. Kids today face a very different challenge. The jobs they might do don't yet exist. The skills that they need are still being discovered. And the truth is that the future is moving faster than our ability to prepare them for it. Anyone who's a parent will understand this. And so I did look at him and think, what will he be doing when he's 25? Probably still living with us because it's Dublin, right? What will be the skills that he will need? But most importantly, maybe, what's going to give him a competitive edge in his future? And as I looked at this sweet, sweet boy, desperately trying to get out of doing his homework, I thought to myself, it won't be what he knows, and he knows too much, I would say. I think it's going to be how he connects, because Lachlan knows everyone, from the principal to the guy who delivers the milk. He knows their names, he asks about their families. He really makes everyone feel like they matter. He has something that no algorithm can replace. Now, in saying that, he's very good with the AI and he's very good with connection, but he can't figure out how to get the dirty laundry in his bedroom floor to the basket on the landing. So we're still working on that. But I think that, Lachlan, it's humans like Lachlan in the future that are going to be successful because they will connect with humans. And what I would say about what we think of EQ skills today, they're going to become even more important in the future as we learn to build trust in a world that, quite honestly, is losing it. And so I've developed 5 signals for what I'm calling relational intelligence, or RI. So the first signal that I'm going to take you through is awareness. So that's the ability to read the tone, the timing, and the subtext of our interactions. Now, for me personally, I think that AI will always struggle with this because it's the ability to read the room. And some humans struggle with this ability. It's spotting the contradictions between what someone says and the way they say it. It is really understanding, you've ever been in rooms where someone just sucks the energy out of a room and the whole dynamic of a room changes? That's something humans pick up on instinctively. It's knowing when the right time is to push forward or to pull back in a conversation. The next signal is presence. And that is, finding a way to connect in the moment, even virtually. So I don't know about anyone else, but at the end of the day, I sometimes struggle with this dividing between work and personal life, because what it means is being fully there. It's putting all digital distractions away, truly listening to what people are saying, not just waiting for your turn to speak, and making people feel not just seen, but heard and truly acknowledged, which I think is absolutely critical for us as humans. The third signal is empathetic structuring. So this means and involves building care and boundaries into the way we work. So if we all know that we probably are going to need to work with other humans in the future, we need to figure out how we're going to work with those other humans, besides the fact we're both human, right? So it involves things like building frameworks that balance support with accountability. It means having rules of engagement that honor everyone's needs. And it means designing feedback systems that have honesty in them, but also care for people. Now, I think this is actually going to be critically important when we think about the kind of complex decision making we will have in the future. We need to balance both emotional and logical decision making. And I think empathetic structuring is a really good place for us to start. The fourth signal is connection capital, and that means investing in trust that compounds. So one of the things that I think that we will bank on in the future is relationships. And that means building relational assets that will appreciate over time for us. So an example of that is organizing regular check-ins that are non-transactional, for example, or proactively adding value to relationships beyond what's contractually obliged of you. It also involves things like mapping out kind of stakeholders across entire organizations beyond the person that you're just connected with. If you do things like that, you will get not just financial dividends, but also emotional dividends that actually have real return in life. And the last signal is humanity. Now, it seems like an obvious one, human differentiation, but it's bringing the humanity that AI can't bring. But more importantly, it's bringing the humanity that no other human can bring to the situation. So that involves turning up as you, the things that make you uniquely human. And one of the things that make you uniquely human is your lived experience. And the way that you have walked through life will impact how you solve problems, how you're creative. So it's absolutely critical that we turn up as our authentic selves, because actually when we do that, we create psychological safety for others. And that's the spark that says, that's why I trust you. So they're the 5 signals. And the good news is that, like any form of intelligence, I believe, it can be strengthened and grown over time with enough intention and practice. The humans that invest in it, they will thrive. The companies that really nurture it, I think they're going to, win trust in a world that's losing it. The societies that lean into it, I believe they're going to be more resilient, more innovative, and more humane. But it's not automatic. It's a choice. Because technological evolutions have always changed what humans do, but I believe this one changes what humans are for. And so AI will win on processing power, but I believe humans will win on relational power. And AI will handle the tasks, but it will be humans with relational intelligence that create true connection. So I guess what I'm here to say to you today is, as a parent, that's the future I want to believe in, right? And some people will be tempted to automate themselves away, the thing that made them uniquely human. But I believe that humans that use both AI and RI, relational intelligence, they will thrive. And so what I'd say is that the roundtable taught me a lot of things. It taught me that everyone has something of value to offer, but it will only be heard if someone is willing to listen. And so when I think about that roundtable in reflection, what I often think of is that maybe the roundtable with no corners wasn't for lost causes after all. Maybe it's where the leaders of the future were sitting, learning to connect in a world that would someday forget. So is there a place for humans alongside AI? I think there is, because AI will give you efficiency, but RI will give you influence, and together you can scale with soul. Thank you.